March 8, 2026. The skies over Iran thunder with American bombers as Operation Epic Fury enters its second week. Years of rising tensions and proxy wars have finally erupted into open conflict after a deadly Iranian missile strike killed 6 Americans at Camp Arfjan in Kuwait. The U.S. response was immediate and overwhelming, shifting from surgical strikes to a relentless air campaign targeting Iran's military infrastructure. The conflict has spilled across borders, closing U.S. embassies in Riyadh and Kuwait after drone attacks and crippling oil traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Gulf states like the UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain now find themselves on the front lines, intercepting waves of Iranian missiles and drones. What began as a limited operation has escalated into a multinational crisis, threatening to reshape the Middle East for decades. President Trump has demanded Iran's unconditional surrender, signaling a long and punishing campaign ahead. The U.S. objective has expanded from degrading Iran's nuclear and missile programs to dismantling its entire war-making capability. The world watches, uncertain of how this confrontation will end, or what the true cost will be. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome will reverberate far beyond the region. As bombs fall, the future of the Middle East hangs in the balance. Operation Epic Fury began with a silent digital onslaught. U.S. Cyber Command crippled Iranian radar and communications, blinding their defenses. Under this electronic cover, B-2 Spirit stealth bombers slipped into Iranian airspace, striking radar sites, missile batteries, and command hubs with surgical precision. Israeli F-35 Adir fighters joined in, hitting deep targets including the Natanz nuclear facility and a covert compound codenamed Minzadahai. In just 24 hours, over 1,000 strikes left, Iran's military reeling and its leadership shaken. A targeted strike in Tehran reportedly killed senior IRGC commanders, sending shockwaves through the regime. By March 2, U.S. forces had established air superiority, paving the way for the next phase. Iran's patchwork air defenses, already vulnerable, were systematically dismantled. With command structures in chaos and airspace cleared, the era of stealth gave way to overwhelming force. The B-2's silent precision had opened the door for a new, more destructive phase. The ghosts had done their work. Now, the sledgehammer would fall. The world had witnessed a masterclass in modern warfare. Iran's military was left exposed, its defenses shattered. With Iran's air defenses in ruins, the U.S. unleashed the B-52 Stratofortress, a Cold War giant reborn for modern war. The arrival of these massive bombers signaled a shift from stealthy scalpel to brute-force sledgehammer. The B-52, with its immense payload and global reach, became the centerpiece of the campaign. Continuously upgraded, this 70-year-old bomber can deliver up to 70,000 pounds of munitions in a single mission. Its high-altitude flight keeps it above most threats, while its range allows strikes from distant bases. The B-52's presence is a psychological weapon, its thunderous roar a constant reminder of American air dominance. Unlike stealth bombers, the B-52 is impossible to miss on radar, but with Iranian defenses neutralized, it operates with impunity. Each sortie devastates dozens of targets, systematically dismantling Iran's military infrastructure. The shift to the B-52 marks a new phase, relentless, visible, and overwhelming. For Iran, the message is clear. There is nowhere left to hide. The old warhorse is now the tip of the spear. The skies belong to the U.S. and its allies. The move from stealthy B-2s to the roaring B-52s marks a fundamental change in strategy. The initial phase was about precision and secrecy, eliminating key defenses and leadership with minimal risk. Once Iran's air defenses were shattered, the campaign shifted to mass bombardment. The B-52s, flying in waves, deliver a volume of firepower unmatched by stealth bombers. This is now a war of attrition, grinding down Iran's capacity to fight through sheer force. Over 2,000 targets were hit in the first 72 hours, leaving Iran's military deaf and blind. The B-1 Lancer joined in for deep strikes, but the B-52 became the primary instrument of destruction. For Iranian forces, the constant roar of the B-52 is a harbinger of doom. The message: the era of hiding is over, and the assault will not stop. The sledgehammer has replaced the scalpel. The B-52's selection was no accident. It's about payload, reach, and cost. Each bomber carries up to 70,000 pounds of bombs and missiles, including GPS-guided JDAMs and long-range JSSMs. Standoff weapons let the B-52 strike deep inside Iran without entering the most dangerous airspace. It's also cost-effective. Operating a B-52 is far cheaper than a B-2, making sustained bombardment feasible. With only 19 B-2s in the fleet, risking them would be catastrophic. The B-52, with 76 in service, is more expendable. This pragmatic approach preserves advanced assets for critical missions while delivering relentless firepower. The B-52 is the perfect tool for a campaign of attrition, efficient, adaptable, and devastating. Modern warfare demands both brains and brute force. The B-52 delivers both. The B-52's mission systematically crippled Iran's war machine. Primary targets included ballistic missile facilities, from factories to underground bunkers. Command and control centers were relentlessly bombed, isolating military units and sowing chaos. The results were immediate. Missile launches dropped by 86%, drone attacks by 73%. Iran's ability to threaten its neighbors and U.S. forces has been shattered. Naval bases, ammunition depots, and IRGC economic assets have been destroyed in massive explosions. The scale of devastation is immense, with secondary blasts lighting up the night sky. While the U.S. claims to target only military infrastructure, the sheer volume of bombs ensures long-term consequences. Iran's power projection has been crippled, its military rhythm broken. Each B-52 sortie further dismantles what remains. The campaign is relentless, methodical, and devastating. Iran's military is being erased from the air. Despite devastation from above, Iran has not surrendered quietly. Retaliatory missile strikes killed 6 Americans at Camp Arifjan, hardening U.S. resolve. Drones targeted U.S. embassies in Riyadh and Dubai, forcing closures and raising the stakes. Iran continues to launch missiles at Israeli cities, killing civilians and spreading terror. Inside Iran, the regime imposes internet blackouts and tightens security, desperate to control the narrative. Official casualty numbers are disputed, but the toll is mounting, especially among IRGC ranks. Iran's proxies have also been activated. Militias in Iraq and Syria attack U.S. forces, while Hezbollah clashes with Israel. These actions are less a coordinated counteroffensive and more a desperate attempt to inflict pain before defeat. The regime fights on 2 fronts against American bombers and its own restless population. The region is aflame and Iran's options are dwindling. Each act of retaliation only invites more destruction. The regime's grip weakens with every passing day. The endgame is approaching. Operation Epic Fury has pushed the Middle East to the brink of a wider, unpredictable war. The economic fallout is severe. Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has collapsed, and global markets tremble. Gulf states are now active combatants, deploying advanced air defenses and reshaping alliances. Lebanon has outlawed Hezbollah's military activities, risking internal upheaval. The old order in the Middle East is crumbling under the pressure of war. The air campaign has devastated Iran's military. But air power alone rarely topples a regime. If unconditional surrender is the goal, a ground invasion may be next, a prospect fraught with peril. For now, the B-52s continue their relentless assault, hoping to fracture the regime from within. If not, the world may soon witness an even more violent chapter in this conflict. The future of the region, and the world, hangs in the balance.